Hello, everyone, and welcome to the one, the only, the F.A.N show. I'm the T-Man, Richard T-Man, and I do play-by-play for the Jamaican bobsled team. Actually, no, I don't. I am your host, and this is my punishment because the man in that box who he applauds every time the plane lands, but he did beat me in his third pick'em in a row, so this is a belated punishment for me on my end. He's the one and only Father Malcolm McCoy. Hey, how do I look?
You're looking good, man. I must say, you're definitely welcome with open arms in the prestigious dreadlock community. So I'm liking it a lot, man. I like it. How you doing, brother?
It's gonna be so hot under this. I can feel it already. But hey, a deal's a deal, is a deal, is a deal, or a bet is a bet is a bet is a bet. Whatever you want to say. That's how we roll here on the Fan Show. I honestly, I want to. I wish we could see out there. Like there was reaction videos for people that just like scroll across, their Twitter feed or their Instagram or they're just, browsing YouTube channels and they come across clips of the show. And there was the times that,
Man.
you know, I've had pie in the face, I've been wearing a Seahawks jersey, and now I've got dreadlocks. And they're
Um,
just like, what's going on here? Like, if you miss the first like 10 minutes of the episode, you watch these clips and you're like, this is a great take on this, but why does he have a dreadlock wig on?
to see, look, Rich, I would pay any amount of money to see their reaction to the punishments, man. This is honestly the funniest part of the show, you ask me.
I know that it's going to be one of those episodes when the punishment is happening on the episode. Thankfully, the pie to the
Yeah.
face happened at the end last
Uh,
week because that got everywhere. Like
oh
it got
yeah,
all over the place.
I can imagine.
But Malk having to post Instagram in a Cowboys jersey is still one of my favorites. I had to do a drum solo, but it's the ones that happen on the show that are really good. And we got to figure out for Malcolm because his three-peat has come to an end. And so I am now in charge of picking the punishment, which we will get to later. But of course, to start every
Uh,
episode, we like to get through our good, bad, and funny. And guess what? With episode 488, that means a new month. So we will put something to bed that we maybe were a little bit too focused on or gave a little bit too much time and attention on last month. And we're just ready to put it to bed and move on. So we'll do that after the good, bad, and funny. But Malk, what's your good, bad, and funny from the weekend? I'm sure there's no shortage.
Yeah, yeah, very eventful weekend, I would say, in the sports world, or week, should I say. For the good, I have Reggie Bush, man, for the college fans and just USC fans all around. Finally got reunited with his Heisman Trophy after 14 years.
Yeah.
We all know the story. We oh, man. We all know the story of that, man. He got well, he demanded it back because of allegedly he accepted money and stuff and while in college and you know we all know that's illegal, quote unquote. So man, it's good to see him getting back what he deserves, and because I mean, honestly, whether he accepted the money or not, that doesn't take away from his gameplay. Man, he's an amazing collegiate athlete, amazing professional athlete. Man, he deserves every bit of it. So I was happy to see that for sure. For the bad, I'm gonna keep this light because I know we'll speak on it a little more later in the episode, but. Man, more trouble in the AFL, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The Iowa Rampage got disbanded, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if that's the proper term for it, but they're having some problems with ownership, some just a bunch of problems up top that trickle down. It all starts up top, and if it's issues in the front office, it's always going to trickle down to the team. Very unfortunate for those guys. But like we said, man, that's why we wait and see. Not too much to be said beforehand, but unfortunately, it's unfolding how a lot of people expected it to. So, for the funny, I had a chance to take a look at the Tom Brady roast that was that was aired on Netflix this past weekend, man.
Don't spoil too
It,
much of it for me because that's why I didn't have it as my funny is because I haven't watched it yet.
yeah, for sure. For sure. I keep it light, man. But now I must say, I mean, there's a lot of guys in there. It's one thing like to see these guys perform at a high level on the field, but the roast gives you a chance to see more like the humanistic and personal side. And that was really fun, man. Tom Brady's a lot funnier than I thought he was. They had guys on there, former teammates, Danny Amendola, uh, Rob Gronkowski, of course. They had comedians, Kevin Hart, Jeff Ross, even Bill Belichick hopped up there and was kind of funny too. So, I mean, that's funny stuff, man. If you haven't watched it yet, I mean, I definitely suggest you guys take a look at it because I mean, it shows another side to all those guys, and it's always nice seeing guys having a good time just outside of what they do professionally. So that was pretty cool.
It is fun to see that, and yeah, I've seen some of the jokes because obviously the clips have already made their rounds, and some of them were like, "Wow,"
Yeah.
and not just like what was said, but by who, and it's just like, "Damn,
uh
Edelman came to play." All right, but I remember it kind of dawning on me just like how the personal and professional lives of people can be so different and how it's like
yeah.
they try to maybe like shield themselves and protect that pedestal that they've maybe been built up to or put themselves on. And it
Hmm.
was there was a roast, oddly enough, and Hulk Hogan was there. He wasn't the one being roasted, but he hopped up on the mic, and you could tell that he was having trouble delivering some of the jokes because you've never heard language like that come out of the Hulkster, right? And it was so humbling to me just to see a guy who is like, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and all this stuff for kids back in the 80s and early 90s, and here he's trying to like tell dirty jokes at a roast, and it was just so I guess just refreshing to see that it's like, okay, so it's they really try to be that person and kind of protect that. And then of course, like when other people stepped up and called him out, like he got a lot of it. I can't wait to see it. So I'm holding off there. But my good, bad, and funny. My good is IFL, my bad is NAL, and my funny is AFL. But no, in all seriousness, the good was WWE Backlash. It was the first premium live event in France. The crowd showed up, showed out, reminded me of how much I want to go to Europe and be a part of like a soccer match or something because it's just I wish I knew what the gap was between that culture across the pond and ours here because they just embrace their events so differently than we do. And I think a lot
Oh,
of it
yeah.
is because we're trying to capture it all through our phone and be the person that gets more likes than anybody else. I just wish that we were more in the moment. But props to
Yeah.
France. They that was great. That was a fantastic crowd. The bad really is the NAL. So they this is something that you don't know because it was before your time as far as a professional indoor player. But 2017, there was a lot of conflict between the CIF and IFL, oddly enough. And there were two
Okay.
teams that were trying to jump from CIF to IFL because they had been meaning to. They geographically it made a lot of sense. They wanted better competition. West Michigan Ironmen and the Bloomington Edge. Well, the CIF, who a lot of the people that were a part of that are also a part of this incarnation of the NAL, oddly enough, they filed an injunction against them that said, no, like you have this agreement to play for us, so you're not going to play at all if you're going to try that. Like they didn't even give them an ultimatum, like you either play for us or you don't play at all. It was like you're just not going to play at all. And I felt so bad. And I was so angry at the CIF because all these players now had to find a new team. And by that point, rosters were pretty much set. And you had
Uh,
staff and coaches and everything that had to basically figure out something else to do now. And so
mm,
I remember whoever's running the Dodge City Law page has had a lot to say about this in the AFL. And they made a post about somebody laugh reacting to the NAL's announcement that Topeka had folded, saying, hey,
mm,
these are players that have to find a new home and it's staff and coaches that are out of the job now and blah, blah, blah. Why is this funny? And it's like this person is part of that same group that is now filing an injunction with the West Texas and Desert Hawks that says you're not going to play for the AFL, you're not going to play at all because we're going to tie you up in legal stuff. And it's just so petty to me. And that's why the
Yeah.
NAL really, like, they can go ahead and block me. I don't care at this point because it's not a league worth covering if this is how they're going to behave. It's sad, it's pathetic. Where was that energy about the Topeka thing with, putting another team in that same spot, even if it is for legal reasons, like, oh, they signed this thing and whatever. It's like, I've signed contracts too, and there's always been a buyout so that if I needed to
Mhm.
go somewhere else, I could pay that amount and go there. But to not even give the team the option to play for you, or to pay this amount and be free of you. Obviously, if
Mhm.
multiple teams have tried to leave the people affiliated with the CIF and now NAL to go to other leagues, that speaks volumes for how things are ran in those leagues. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's,
Sure.
which is why I know that you want to go back to outdoor, and I encourage that. I hope that you do. But if you ever came to me and said, "Hey, thinking about going back to indoor," you and I are going to have a talk about which teams that you can go for and which teams you cannot go for.
No, for sure. And I mean, I would welcome that too because I mean, it's hard to choose nowadays, man. I mean, you go to a team, and that's why I feel for these players so much, man, because
Yep.
they sign to these teams, and during the off season that they think are going to be a great situation, a good opportunity for some exposure. But like it's just sad that once they get there, you know, things get rolling. You kind of too deep in to actually, take a step back or whatever the case is. And it's a whole bunch of legal trouble stuff that you don't even have any control over. I mean, as a player, we're used to controlling what we can control on the field. Our troubles come in if we're not performing well enough, or if we, miss a meeting or something like that. These guys are playing their ass off, but unfortunately, it doesn't really matter what they're doing. It's just up top, it's they're having issues. So unfortunately, like I said, it trickles down. So
Yeah, and so that's why it's bad. It's not funny. Like, it's just sad, it's petty, it's pathetic. It's like,
mm-hmm.
if people are leaving a company and it's more than just one person, it goes beyond like disgruntled employees at that point. There's clearly something wrong with like the people that are handling things in management. And then today, the Oklahoma Flying Aces, they've had to cease operations or go dormant, according to a copy of the website release of the NAL. And it's just like, okay, if things are this bad in your league, and they were this bad in the league that you were previously with, and teams were trying to leave you then and they're trying to leave you now, it's just like, you need to go step in front of a mirror and be like, is this the problem? Yeah, probably staring right back at you. That's the problem. I'm just gonna say you're the problem. So
Sure.
anyway, my funny is the AFL. It's more of the stuff that we talked about last week, right? Where there was some good stuff and there was some not so good stuff. Props to the Washington Wolfpack. They really showed out as far as their facilities. They look like a professionally ran organization and team. They did lose, but I mean, that's more of what you want. And it was a team I think a lot of people didn't peg to be one of those teams, right? That was going to have good rebound nets or have quality turf or things like that. So props to them. Obviously, I've given them the rub. They're from my home state in Washington, up there in Everett. But no, the AFL is just funny because Lee Hutton's nowhere to be found, and there's been like two coaches and two GMs that have gone on record in interviews calling for his resignation and all this. Meanwhile, the AFL official like X page and Facebook and Instagram are just flooding it with like top plays and all the action. It's just like, okay, but are the players being paid? Like, do they have a place to go? Are they locked out of hotels? So that was my funny.
Wow.
But yeah, it's crazy how we are at this point in everybody's season, and it's taken about less than a month for the AFL for the wheels to essentially fall off. Just over a month and a half for the NAL to basically be down to like four teams, four real teams, and then the IFL to just be like, yeah, like, yeah, yeah, what's up? That's none of my business. So,
For sure.
and we all know I have my issues with people in the IFL, but I'll give them their props where it's due. Like, they're the most stable league out there right now. So time
By
to
far.
put something to bed. Malcolm, what do you got for something that maybe we talked a little bit too much on or spent a little too much time and effort on last month that, it's time to,
Mhm.
to put this thing to bed and move on.
For sure. See, I know I've dragged you into these conversations. You don't seem to care about it as much as I do, but man, sports betting, man. I feel like I've beat a dead horse long enough, and I've spoken on it a couple times by now. We all know how I feel about it and how it's potentially affecting sports, and you know, just the referees' performance and things like that. I'll go on record saying that I feel like certain states just don't need sports betting at all, and certain refs and players just should, be reprimanded for sure. But I guess I'm ready to make peace with it and finally put it to bed, man. I'm tired of hearing myself talk about it, so I'm putting to bed the sports betting. That'll be the last time you hear me speak about it on this show.
On the
But I
show. I'll get
mean,
texts about it.
for sure, But yeah, but I
Can you
think I'm ready
believe
to.
this spread?
It's coming for sure. Because I mean, yeah, it's something that's just been throwing me away just for the past couple years. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, man, I'm ready to put it to
Okay, he's putting it to bed. I got to throw my little John out there every once in a while.
I'm gonna need it for sure.
All right, so
Yeah,
Malcolm has read it a story, sang it a lullaby, and gave it a Benadryl to sports betting and
for
put it to
sure.
bed. For
Mhm.
me, it's NAL AFL stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
they both. The fact that they even got mentioned, especially the NAL, the fact that the NAL got mentioned, period, last month is more energy than I ever planned on devoting to them. I know that we kind of left that door cracked open. We've got friends in the NAL. I feel bad
yeah,
for him, but I mean, Gibb, I think is doing well, so good for him. I wish Gibb nothing but the best. He's a phenomenal
yeah. I
player.
know.
So hopefully things don't creep up to Carolina and ruin that whole experience for him. But we've got friends in that league, and so it's not like we have any ill will towards them, like you're guilty by association or something. It's like no, it's just the stupid people that run it. So I'm ready to put them to bed. And then the indoor war, I'm ready to put that thing to bed. That song is so annoying now. Like oh my god,
Oh
like
yeah, and
uh,
just keep it on repeat too. That's the worst part.
dude. So first and foremost, props to the guy that they collaborated with, that this is doing whatever for his career. But my God, dude, if I have to hear it 27 times every game and I watch every game every week, that's a lot of indoor war. And I
Oh
found
yeah, for
myself like it playing on loop through my head as I'm trying to sleep, and I'll wake up and be like, no, like we gotta do something else. So the hashtag, the theme or whatever it is, and the song, like no, like I'm ready to just
Mhm.
put it to bed and move on. So there is our put it to bed, which we do at the beginning of every new month here on the fan show, so that we can move on to something maybe a little different. But I think that those were two good ones, Malcolm, as far as put it
For
to bed.
sure.
I think that you and your sports betting, I mean, I didn't mind it, but I get where you're coming from as far as for my own peace of mind, I got to put this to bed. All right, so week number 8, action-packed week. Even though 4 teams were on a bye, we had 3 previously winless teams all get their first win of the season. So that means drum roll, and then there was one winless team in the league, and now one remaining undefeated team. As crazy as that
Mhm.
is, because I don't think anybody saw that coming going into the week. I mean, I looked back at our predictions and picks for this, and of the 3 games that we picked as far as that featured winless teams, there's only one that I may have changed, and you and I mentioned that previously, and it was the Sioux Falls Green Bay one. I was like, why am I nervous about this? And then sure enough,
Yeah.
that happens. But we'll go ahead and start from the top. So Jacksonville, they are winless no more. They beat Tulsa. I have no reason to look back at our options as far as, okay, you've got to pick one team that's winless to come out with their first victory. Who's it going to be? Like, there's nothing that tells me that Jax is going to win this, but somehow Sam Castronova knew. Like, this is crazy. So they put up 40 points for the first time all season. 47-44 is your final. Tulsa falls to 3-3. Jax 1-5. That ending, man, it was crazy because they didn't have any time left and they had a timeout. And I just feel so bad because I feel like that's twice now that Tulsa has let like mismanagement of time and timeouts
Yeah.
interfere with what could be a victory. Now they would have had to do a lot just to like tie and maybe go into overtime, but still,
Uh-huh.
it's one of those things, that it's like, make sure you've got it handled. But this game, Jax was ahead, I think, 20 to 7 or something. Well, then
Hmm.
Tulsa ties it up in the third quarter, and it's a track meet. They go back and forth until late in the fourth. Jax holds Tulsa out of the end zone into a field goal, and that changed
Yeah.
everything. That was the game changer because they couldn't stop Jax, oddly enough. Like the offense came out swinging, they were clicking, they were firing on all cylinders.
Hmm.
So Peyton, 18 to 24, 179 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air. Smith had 1 interception, and that was really probably the difference maker, if not the field goal. I mean, Malcolm, like you watched that game. How do you feel as far as what Jax did and what Tulsa didn't do? Because this is Coach Jones, and we know he likes to be methodical.
One thing I noticed about that game too, watching Coach Jones, is when the camera panned over his way, he always did kind of seem very stoic and relaxed. I mean, for that reason, I thought he had like some kind of secret weapon in his back pocket, or whatever the case is. But I mean, Jax was just pouring it on, and for a while, it seemed like he didn't have an answer. So I think, like Brian said, it was just those key pieces in those right positions and the intensity, man. They came out playing and swinging. It was crazy. So, I mean, they, not to say they look like a different team. I think that they are playing with the same intensity they have been playing, but they were just more focused. And I mean, it shows because they knew who they were playing against. They knew what they were up against skill wise, and they came to play, and that's just the difference. Sometimes, with two good teams, two talented teams, the difference is just who's more focused. And I think Jacksonville for sure was more focused.
So that was your first winless team to get a win, and against the team that I mean, it's just crazy because you had options, right? Okay, 3 winless teams, pick one that's going to get a win. None of us, I think, would have somehow. Castronova did, so props to him for being able to
Yeah,
predict it, and he just like so casually too. That'll probably happen this weekend. Like I don't even know if he knew who the opponent was, but damn, dude, like
right.
Sam was on it. All right, so our second Friday game and our second team that was previously winless and now gets their first win came from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Green Bay Blizzard and the Sioux Falls Storm. Final score there 38-46. So Green Bay
Mhm.
drops to 4-2. They've won 4 of their last 5. They were on a 4-game winning streak, but now they'll have to regroup. Sioux Falls, though, I think it was only a matter of time before they put it together, and they finally did. Lorenzo Brown was back, but didn't have like a huge impact like you thought that maybe he would. This was a ground and
Yeah.
pound game for Sioux Falls, which a lot of indoor teams just, if they're not prepared for it, it's going to be a long day. And I think
Mhm.
Green Bay has been so good defensively, but it's been in the secondary, and so maybe their line needs a little work. But Reed, he had a great game. And this one also came down to a single play. There was a kick return by Green Bay, and the ball got ripped out of the guy's hands. And it wasn't just a turnover,
Mhm.
it was returned for a touchdown. And now
Yeah.
Sioux Falls has this lead, and Green Bay was just never able to get past them or hold them out of the end zone. So, second game, one play defies the whole thing, and it's the second team that was winless to get their first win. I mean, it's crazy to think, but I think Myler maybe just had a bad day. 18 to 30, 165 yards, a TD, and an interception. He was sacked 3 times, so Claude Davis in that
Mhm.
line doing some really good work. But this is probably what we thought we would see from Sioux Falls eventually. Ground game, though. Good work there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I would say so. Um, just to add on what you said about Myler just having an off day. No disrespect to Sioux Falls defense, because I mean they're like you said, Claude Davis, they got some experience on that side, man. And sometimes they, like the movie Any Given Sunday. I mean, that's all you can say. Any given game day, really. I mean, you can't really count any team out. We learned that just this past weekend for sure. So yeah, I think they had Max Miler's number, and yeah, they came to play and it showed.
So that takes us to Frisco and San Antonio, a rematch of the game from a week prior, which the Gunslingers were victorious in that one, giving Frisco their first loss of the season. This one comes down to another single play or single series, really. Final score 62-57. and
Mm-hmm.
it ends on a Castronova interception, his only interception. So it wasn't that interception that defied the whole game, but it ended basically the same way, just a different team as their previous matchup. So I
Right.
think this one was interesting just because Edwards exited the game so early. So enter Harrington, who goes 9 of 13, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and 3 on the ground. And poor Sam, 18 of 25, 228, 5 touchdowns through the air. And man, he makes it look so effortless. Like I'm watching
All the
Sam
time, man.
play, and it's just ridiculous. There was, I think, early in the first half, he overthrew a receiver, and I'm not even necessarily sure it was his fault. He just throws it. Maybe the guy wasn't running fast enough, but then like the next play, tries it again to a different guy and nails it. Connects for an easy like 40-yard touchdown. It's ridiculous how easy
Mm-hmm.
he makes it look. Like he's got to be top three quarterback in the league.
Yeah, easily, easily. And we've been talking about it for some time, man. He's one of those guys who does everything right, man. Um, Not to try to pin any losses on any one person in particular, but like we said before, if they when they do lose, it's definitely not his fault because he put his team in the best possible position every time. It just so happens that their opponent was a little more prepared this time. But yeah, man, shout out to Sam always, man. He's a great player, former teammate, and yeah, I'm just a fan of his play, honestly.
So Frisco back in the win column. Unfortunately, the back-to-back wins will stop at just 2 for San Antonio, but they're putting it together. This is not going to be the a loss and then a series of losses. I don't think. I think they're going to have more wins than losses. Moving forward in the season. So a lot of
Right.
bright future for them. And that brings us to the next action on Saturday, Quad City in Iowa. This one, like you and I kind of said, is this like maybe a trap game? Quad City's kind of been back and forth, but so has Tulsa now. They've been like win loss, win loss. But Quad City, I really thought that this was a game that they needed just like for their confidence, and they lose
Yeah.
it 53-55. And it was three defensive slash special team scores for Iowa that made this just a miserable day for Quad City because neither offense did very well. Kyle King, 8 of 18, 92 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. So it's not like he put 200 through the air and had 5 touchdowns. And,
Mm-hmm.
Judd, he had another Judd Erickson kind of day. He did pretty well, but there was just a few more turnovers for Quad City than there was Iowa. Very close game, but that was your third and final team that was winless playing that weekend to get a win. And so now all eyes focus to poor Duke City. And I don't know if it's going to be, the next time they play. But fun fact, every team that had a Star Wars night, not just a theme, but a special jersey won that
Mm-hmm.
weekend. That was
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. I'm starting to fall in love with it, man. I don't know about all these jerseys. I saw some pretty good ones. I saw some not so much so, but man, I'm all for it. I love how the IFL was like kind of incorporating the fan lore and stuff like that into the game itself. It's really cool.
So, just fun fact for I guess next year, maybe bet on the team with the Star Wars themed jerseys. I guess.
Keep that in mind for sure.
So that brings us to the battle of unbeaten. Somebody had to walk away still with a perfect record. Came down to 2. I think a little quicker than we thought as far as
Yeah.
who was remaining and then where we were at in week 7. But Vegas 62, Bay Area 43. This one, there's not a single moment that you can point out where it's like, oh, that's where it happened. Like Bay Area, just they seemed out of rhythm. They seemed off
Yeah.
their game, like in every aspect. Both teams played 2 quarterbacks. Jerome
Mhm.
Johnson did great. Reyna did all right. Neal did okay, but Felix Harper, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's not going to help you win. It's weird because these two teams, the number 1 and number 2 team, undisputedly, and yet they played 2 quarterbacks throughout the game, and one just looked like they struggled so much.
Mhm.
I don't know really what else to say about this one.
It's hard to say, really. I mean, you can't really put your finger on what exactly the problem is. Like you said, they're two great teams, so it's hard to pinpoint one problem in particular. And it's kind of funny to think that the two undefeated teams are still kind of trying to find their footing at this point in the season. Well, with the from the quarterback position especially, but Ultimately, I think it just came down to the who pretty much who put the most points on the board, and I think surprisingly enough, Vegas seemed to be in control the entire game, no matter who they played at quarterback or what position switches, whatever the case is. I remember when I turned on the game, I looked away for what seemed like a second. Then they were like two scores up. I got faith in Coach Wooten. You know, the whole coaching staff over there. I think they'll put it together, and this will probably be the last or one of the few losses we see out of them.
All right, so the big question: do you think they're for real? Like, is this really the undisputed number one team at this point in the season right now?
Man, it's hard not to say so, Rich. Really, I mean, what more do they have to do? They beat the reigning champions. They remain undefeated. Like you said, there has been some discrepancy about their toughness of opponent. But now that's out of the window, man. I mean, what more of an opponent are you going to face than, like I said, the reigning champs, man? Their defense is playing at a high level. They had some injuries to key players on that defensive side, but they still the train's still moving, man. And it's hard to call any other team outside of them the top contender at this point. So I for one say they're the real deal, man. I think so at least.
I think so too. I messaged their coach, congratulated him on being the sole remaining undefeated team, and he said,
Mhm.
they just got to keep it up now, and that's I think
Yeah,
what it becomes when you're the last one, right? Is that
right.
now it's like, okay, how long can you keep it going? And there's going to be slip ups. There's going to be some really tough challenges, or maybe ones that you don't even see coming, like Tulsa against Jacksonville or Quad
Mhm.
City against Massachusetts. You got to focus on that next game. You can't overlook anybody at this point in the season. So I think they'll keep it going, even if they lose. I don't think it's like, oh, we saw this coming. No, no, it's way beyond that point right now as
Right.
far as where we are in the season. So Vegas, yeah, I think they're the real deal. And then our week 8 finale. Sunday, we had the Northern Arizona Wranglers taking on who I had as third in power rankings, third in the league, the San Diego Strike Force. And look who was right about this one. Northern Arizona 45, San Diego 54. Both are 4-2. So both are going to be really tough games as far as if they're on your schedule. There's no question about that. Nate Davis 18 to 31, 224 yards, 5 touchdowns, doing Nate Davis things once again. But
Of
man,
course.
I love how everybody now is jumping on the whole, oh, SD, they've got like the best broadcast in the whole league. Yeah, I said that like a month ago, and nobody was just like, oh, yeah, I agree. Like, give me a break, man. Like, this is not news to me. I was saying that way before you guys all caught on. You were probably too busy pointing out awful streams to notice what a quality one truly looks like, and that's the Strike Force. But yeah, people call me crazy for putting them at number 3 in power rankings. Somebody had them, like somebody messaged me said that they had him at 9. I'm like, you're what? Like, there's no way this team is not going to make the postseason. Like, pending
Yeah.
something awful, but this team is well put together. They've just played really tough teams. So, final score, like I said, 45-54. This one came down to a play or two, but I don't think it's anything revealing about one team or the other. I don't think it's people saying, well, Northern Arizona's had a pretty easy schedule leading up to this point, so now we're going to start seeing them kind of slip up. I don't think that either. Same thing with the Nighthawks.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed about San Diego for sure is they have a lot of depth on both offense and defense, man, and that's something that's pivotal if you want to make that postseason run.
Yes.
Let me kind of look at my notes here. Like we said last time, well, earlier last week, because of the situation that went down at the end of the Bay Area and San Diego game, a couple key players were missing. I think both Hoodie Rogers and Arthur Jackson are suspended for the next 3 weeks, which is unfortunate. But fortunately for Isaiah Cox and Jordan Crest, they stepped up big, man. And then, like I said, on defense, we're probably gonna have to have this guy on the show at some point too, because he was pretty upset with me for picking against him too. But Byron Cooper, man, Byron Cooper, he's a dog, man. I played with him at Duke City and played some DN over there. He's one of those guys who could pretty much play anywhere. So those guys are playing at a high level just all around, no matter who you put on the field, and that's a great thing to see. And I know better now than the bet against San Diego. So, I mean, going forward, I'm definitely excited to see how things continue to go for them.
Yeah, I'd like to talk with Nate Davis since we're building the list. He's another guy who just makes it look so easy, so effortless when he
Yeah,
plays the
yeah.
quarterback position like Sam does. So now that we've recapped week number 8, man, 4 teams were on a bye, but it didn't give us any shortage of action. We are now going to speak to a special guest, one that we owe a heartfelt apology to, Malcolm and I. They called us out on social media on IG. So, folks, joining us now, a very special guest, another first timer that Malk was able to get. So, clearly, he is taking his co host responsibilities very serious, and he's doing
Come on,
quite
man.
well. We'd like to welcome from the previously winless Jacksonville Sharks, an offensive lineman, Mr. Bryant Nolan Jr., celebrating win numero uno. Welcome to the program, man. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Now, okay, the dreadlocks, like this is not normally how I look. This is my punishment that Malcolm has chosen for me because I lost to pick him a week ago,
Yes,
and
sir.
so, but he lost, so now I get to pick his, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But hey, so you
I got,
guys,
I got, I got something as well because me and Malcolm know what he owe me because he bet against us.
well, first and
For sure.
foremost, we definitely appreciate your time and coming on here on the show. Malcolm, I think you and I both owe it to him to apologize. We are sorry that we did not pick the Sharks to win against
100%,
the
man.
Tulsa Oilers. So from me to you, I'm sorry, my man. We'll never do it again.
Hey, I accept y'all apology. Please don't ever do that
For sure, my dog. For sure, for sure.
Malcolm, apologize to the man. You picked against him
Hey,
too.
yeah, nah, you know what it is, man. That's my dog, B, man. Much apologies, bro. You did your thing. You been doing your thing, bro. So I mean, yeah, it's all love, brother.
Hey, I appreciate that, my brother. It's all love this way too. Don't lose your money though, man. Don't go against the Sharks, man. I'm telling you.
I
I
just got to
heard it. I
say,
heard
I
it.
wish it would have been against Arizona a week prior, man. Like you guys were that close, and I was like hoping and praying for it. I was like, come on, let it be this. This would be so poetic. This would be such sweet
Yeah,
justice.
For
man.
sure,
Yeah,
man.
we got it together now, man. We had added a couple pieces to the puzzle, and I think we complete now. So it's gonna be a big turnaround for the Sharks.
Yeah, Malcolm, we had Sam Castronova on last week, who I think we need to call Sam Nostradamus, because somehow he knew, man. Like we
He
asked him
said
from his point of view what stood out about what was wrong with the Sharks, and he said they just need to score more than 40, which you guys did, and he said that he
it.
thought for sure that you guys were probably going to get your first win, which I was looking back at the 3 teams that were winless that won. That's like the one game that I didn't really have a reason to switch who I thought was going to win that because Tulsa, like Malcolm and I know Coach Jones, he doesn't take any team lightly. So, from you to us, how did it feel going in there? What was the plan? And then obviously, how's it feel to come out with your first victory in the IFL?
Man, it felt really good because we worked so hard, man. It's just like I came a little late, so this would have been my fourth game, I believe. And like I said, every day we work hard, bro. And we knew we was gonna win. We just came in with that mindset all week in
Yeah.
practice, bro, grinding, bro. Like it was a different type of tempo. Like we came in positive, even though like traveling was crazy and all that. We had to wait 5 hour layover and
Oh,
wherever we landed at, but man, we went out there and handled our business for sure.
First victory, a road victory at that, in a crowded Tulsa event center, which is not an easy get. So, Malcolm, you're up now for your special guest here, Mr. Bryant Nolan Jr.
for sure, man. For sure. Like we already did that introductions, B. You my dog, everything, man. It's good to see you, brother. I'm gonna ask you this though, man, because obviously we played on the same team before.
Yeah,
We learned a lot about each other. I know you're a Florida boy, man. What's it? I'm gonna ask you what is it like playing in your hometown for one, and also how do you stay focused? With all the I'm sure it's like dozens of fans looking to try to come to the games every week or whatever the case is, and
right.
it's just a bunch of distractions. So how do you stay focused? And like I said, what's it like playing in your state, man?
Well, originally I'm from Illinois, but I played college basketball in Jacksonville since 2020, and then I
There you
switched
go.
to football in 2022. So that's probably why everybody think my coach even thought I was from Jacksonville, and it's kind of
Yeah,
a second home. it's the second home to me, so I claim it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Duval County. But man, it's cool, man. It's like everybody supporting me. They want me to get to the next level, the highest level I could play at. Even if I happen not to make it, they come support me in the IFL. You know what I'm saying? So it's all love. Staying focused part. You just gotta keep the main thing the main thing. Can't go off track, man. You know what I'm saying? So
I
that's
hear
pretty
that,
much
bro.
it.
I hear that. I hear that for sure. That's what's up. My second question too. You kind of touched on it already. I know you're a hooper by nature, man. You came to football a little late, but you've been doing your thing ever since I've known you, bro. I had this
Appreciate it, my boy.
conversation with a lot of ain't no thing, man. But I had this conversation with a lot of dual sport athletes. I think that basketball players translate better to football than football to basketball. You know what I'm saying? What's
I
what's your
agree.
take on it being a basketball player to football?
So switching over, I agree on that part.
Yeah,
But if you want to know the answer to what sport is harder, football for sure.
yeah.
Football for sure. Football is a different breed. When I literally I only been playing 2 years now. This is the second year. My first week of football practice in college, I was about to quit, boy. That helmet and shoulder pad, and it was so hot in Florida, I was about to go back to the basketball court, bro. But
Hey, no, I hear that.
it's definitely I think basketball players can definitely cross over. Was more basketball players who could cross over and play football than football players doing the other way because y'all be so strong, can't shoot the ball. Defense, y'all be filing. But other than that though, yeah, football way harder. No cap.
Yeah, no, I hear that, bro. I hear that. I hear that 100%. Rich, what you think, man?
Well, my question for him is I know that he talked about how their mindset was after the layover and the delays going in, like they knew they were going to get that win. I'm watching this game and I can pick out a single moment where everything changed, right? Like because it was, you guys had the lead at halftime and then they tied
Yeah.
it up and now it's a track meet. You guys are trading blows, going back and forth until you guys held Tulsa to a field goal. And that's when everything changed. So I know that you talked about knowing that you guys were going to go in there and win, but was that the moment, or was there a different moment where you guys knew for certain, like this is our game now, like we are going to win this one?
Honestly, being up at half definitely helped because I don't think we did that in a game so far that I played in. So being up at half definitely helped. But it's football. They gonna score, we gonna score. They gonna get stops, we gonna get stops. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to keep going, keep fighting. But it was definitely that moment. I was like, yeah, if we score right now, it's over. If we get up two, it's over with.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Well, I know that after each game, Coach Gibson, I could see that he was frustrated, and understandably so, because it just seemed like you guys were just missing it by that much. Especially in Arizona, you guys were so close. That final score really doesn't reflect your guys' effort out there. So Sam, he thought he knew like what you guys needed to do, but honestly, like from your perspective, going into a road game, saying we're going to get this win, like what did you feel that the team needed to do to finally bring it all together and come out with a win?
Focus like how we did in practice. Some practices are slower than others, but this week everybody was holding each other accountable. That's a big thing. Hold each other accountable. Coaches were we were holding coaches accountable. They were holding us accountable. Everybody pushed each other to play their hardest. Like we was playing practice like a game, man. Like I never been a part of nothing like that. And it was you. And if we keep practicing like that, we're gonna keep winning. This is gonna be the domino effect. We just gonna keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. So I think that's the key right there.
All right, man. Well, Malk, what about you? Any other questions for him?
Yeah, man. One last question, brother. I'm gonna keep it light.
Talk
Uh,
to me.
I want to say, my favorite part about playing on the same team as you, bro, was you brought that same energy that you have like for offensive line, the D line, the special teams. You know what I'm saying? I remember you making tackles on kickoff, getting turned, bro. That was just like the best part about your gameplay, bro. I'm gonna say because at Albany, you did play O line and defense. So what was your if you could choose, would you choose offense or defense? What's your favorite?
Mm. It's crazy. So maybe if we would have more games before the incident, I probably would have chose defense because I was just
For
now
sure.
getting in my groove with defense. But online,
Yeah,
I love both line, bro. Like just the feeling of me not letting the grown man get past me is like, you know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Like it's just
I
or
hear
me
it. I
pancaking
hear
somebody. Like how I used to pancake you in practice, remember?
it. Ain't never see it, bro. Go ahead.
No, but I definitely choose O line right now. Like that's my spot,
For
that's my
sure.
position, and wherever I
That's
go
tough.
after this, hopefully back outside, that's gonna be where it's at for sure.
That's all right, bro. That's all right, man. Well, shoot, man. Shoot, we on the same page. We shooting for the same thing. So I wish you much luck, bro. You know I'm gonna stay up with you, man. Just yeah, if I could help you, I will. I mean, it's all love, bro. Like I said.
Hey, you already know, bro. You my brother for life, man. We locked in. Hey, Rich, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Them kids look good on you, man. You might as well go ahead and grow some.
There it is.
I might just do that.
Go ahead and join the crew.
I did have one more question for you, and that was that obviously I think everybody knew that eventually Jax was going to put it together, and you guys were going to get a win, whether that was week 1, 3, 5, whatever. But now that you guys have one, how much weight does it feel like is lifted off your shoulders? And two, like, what's your message to the league now, since we're just approaching the midway point, and now we're going to really start to separate the men from the boys in the league?
Right. To answer your first question, how much does an elephant weigh? Because boy, it felt like when we won that game, boy, I felt so relieved. The ride back was cool. The flight back was cool. Practice the next day was cool. Like it feels better when you win. You know what I'm saying?
For
And
sure.
to let the IFL know and every team knows, I'm gonna look in the camera on this one, man. We coming. I'm not playing. We coming for sure.
There it is. There it is. Yes, sir.
Definitely, we coming. Don't doubt us.
All right, so even though we both picked against Jacksonville, I still won the pick 'em this week. You got any suggestions for what Malcolm's punishment should be for the next time
Ooh,
on the
please.
show?
There you go.
Honestly, I don't. Oh, since you wearing the dreads, you got to wear a ball cap. Yeah, the whole show.
uh,
Ball gap, bro.
we'll figure
Yep.
something out for sure. I got a few ideas in mind, but I wanted
Oh
to
man,
pick your brain a
go
little bit because I know that he owes you as well for the game. But man, Bryant, thank you so much, man. It's been a lot of fun to have you on here. I'm glad you guys were able to finally get the monkey off your back as far as not getting a win yet. Welcome to the IFL. Obviously, it's probably long overdue, but you guys are definitely starting to play the way I think we all knew that the Sharks could. So may it be the first of many for you, man. We're really excited to see what else you guys bring to the table.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Like I said, we coming, man. It's gonna be a whole new Sharks team. You're gonna see wins after wins after wins. I promise.
All right.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
he is Bryant Nolan Jr., offensive lineman of the no longer winless Jacksonville Sharks. In fact, they're just getting started, folks. So thank you so much again, Bryant. Safe travels, man, and good luck next week.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And one more big thank you to the man in Jax, Duval County, Bryant Nolan Jr. Malk, you've been getting some good ones on here, man. I love that we've put this responsibility upon you, and you have delivered for 2 weeks in a row now.
Hey man, Rich, what would you do without me, man? I mean, it's
I
not
would
easy
not
being the
look
best
like
part of
this
the
right
show, bro.
now without you. That's
Man, no, it's nothing but a pleasure, man. I mean, like me being a player, not to, diminish your pool with these players and stuff like that, but with me, being a bit closer to the game itself, I know a lot of these guys, and it's a lot of times it's just a phone call, man. I'm glad that they're up for it and they're cool enough to actually join us on here because it's big for all of us. So
yeah, we keep it
man.
fun, man. Like, it's just come on, have a few laughs, talk about your team, talk about the season, tell us where we were wrong, which was picking Tulsa against you. you know? But no, he was a good sport. I'll have him back anytime. And our first Jacks player, so that was good. So we've
Yeah,
got one
yeah,
from
for sure.
each of the new IFL additions this year. So that's good gets for us in the show. But now it's time to make our predictions, our picks for week number 9. And I get to go first this time because I won the pick 'em last week. It was terrible. I will fully admit up front, it was terrible. I think 2 of 4. Two and 4 is what I went. And it was those two that I needed to get, and I got them both. But man, it was ugly. It was not good. Both Malk and I are feeling that one. So we're going to try to recover both of us from that and just chalk that up to like opposite day. I think
For
maybe
sure,
maybe
for
that was the
sure.
annual opposite day in the league, right? So week number 9 begins on Friday, May 10th. We have the Quad City Steamwheelers going into Sioux Falls to take on the no longer winless Storm. It's the last time we can really say that about any of the teams that got their first win. So
Mhm.
the big question, can Sioux Falls keep it going? And the other question, what's going on with Quad City? Because they look like they had it together, but back and forth, win loss, win loss. This is going to be tough for Quad City because now Sioux Falls has tasted it and they're going to be at home again. They're going to be riding that momentum. And oh man, as much as it pains me to pick against Quad City, and we all know what happened last time I did, I'm going to have to go. Ooh, yeah, it just hit me all at once at what I was about to say. So I'm going to pause here, collect myself. Uh, uh, mm, uh, because I invited Claude Davis to be on the show in the near future, I will pick the Sioux Falls Storm. Okay, there we go. I feel way better about it now. Holy crap, that was tough to get through. And I'm only going to say it the one time. Malk, your turn. We're moving on.
Oh man, that was fun to watch. You do that. No, man, I agree with you. I think it's hard to pick against a team that's had their taste of victory, and I mean they're hungry, man. They're playing at a high level. Well, as of last week for sure, and they have, like I said earlier, they have those veterans, those key veterans on defense. Claude Davis being one of them. But I don't think that Quad City is going to drop to them again. I think that this past weekend was one of Quad City's blunders, if you will. And again, not to take away from Sioux Falls, but I think they're a much better team. Quad City, that is, they're a much better team than they put on this past weekend. So I think they'll get it together, and I think they'll come out with a W.
Okay, so starting with difference of opinions already for this pick'em. This could
Mm-hmm.
be a long weekend for me and Malk. So he's taking Steamwheelers. Not repeating it. We know who I'm taking. Okay. So more Friday night action. We have the San Diego Strike Force, number 3 in my power rankings, taking on number 1 and new number 1, the lone remaining undefeated team, the Vegas Nighthawks. Malk, who do you like in this one? It's gonna be a tough one.
Ah, man. Chris, this is definitely a tough one, man. I almost wanna hide my pick because like I said, my guy over at San Diego, he's gonna kill me for this one. But I mean, Vegas is the lone ranger right now, man. The only undefeated team. They're doing it. They're undefeated for a reason. And let me see.
He's got to think about it.
This is something I got to think about for sure, man. Because I think San Diego has the potential to give them their first L. Man, fuck it. I'm gonna go with San Diego, brother. I think San Diego's got it, man. Jerome Johnson has pretty much outmatched a lot of these defenses, but I think San Diego has the defense to run with them. So, regardless of them not having an Arthur Jackson or Hoodie Rogers, I think that their defense is gonna be the difference maker in this game. So I'm taking San Diego for it.
This is going to be one of those games that comes down to like a single play, like what we saw so
Yeah,
much of last week. Like that's the point of the season that we're at. Like you have to almost play mistake-free football to beat some of these teams, and
yeah, yeah,
that's tough to do. But Vegas, they've done it, and I know that it seems sort of counterproductive for me to say that San Diego would lose when I have them ranked so high, but they've had a tough stretch of schedule the last 3 weeks. I mean, back
yeah.
to back with Bay Area, and then now they get the lone remaining undefeated team. But I'm still going to go with the Nighthawks. But I will
Mhm.
say this is a win that both teams really need. I mean, San Diego needs it
Yeah,
to prove that they're better than people think they are, even though I'm giving them, due credit as far as you guys are that good. You are, but others apparently don't. And Vegas needs it. They need to prove that they can beat a team. Bay Area, I mean, was that a fluke win? Was that a one and only, or can they put it together back to back for two top 3 teams? So I will go
yeah,
with Vegas in that one. So it's gonna be a fun Friday night for me and Malk, man. It's shaping
yeah.
up. That does it for the Friday action. That brings us to Saturday. And oh boy, this is going to be one that you and I have to really think hard about. The Jacksonville Sharks go into Frisco to take on the Fighters. And Frisco has suffered one loss all season to an NAL team. How about
Yeah.
that? And now they face another uh, NAL team, I guess, if you want to call them that. So we had a member of Jax on the show. Is that going to sway who we pick in this one? I want to believe him. I think I'm actually going to pick Jacksonville to
Yeah.
win on the road again against Frisco.
Okay.
Like, that's crazy.
Crazy indeed. Just crazy enough for me to agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Brian. I know he's not the type of guy to just, say what he feels like he needs to say to blow smoke up his team's ass or whatever the case is. But he's a realist, and I think if he's seeing something that he feels like they can capitalize off of, I think it's worth trusting. So Frisco is a great team, and they've proved that they're a postseason team as well. But I'm on the bandwagon now for Jackson. I think this is going to be the beginning of a string of wins that can possibly put them in a good position going forward in the to the postseason.
Sipping that Duval drink right there. We are drinking that tea. All right, so we
For
both like
sure.
Jacksonville. I love how last week I think was the first time all season we both picked Tulsa and
Yeah.
and they lost. But it's all right. This is different. This is different.
uh,
We're not going to talk about that. Which
for
brings us
sure.
to the next Saturday matchup. Tulsa Oilers at the Green Bay Blizzard. This is a win that both teams need. I mean, let's just say what needs to be said. Both teams need this win. Tulsa's 3-3. Blizzard are 4-2. A loss for either isn't going to be devastating, but it is a tight race right now. And this is the time of the season where you need to get these wins like where you can against teams
Mhm.
that are kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Um, Jones does not like to lose back to back, but Myler, man, just had a bad day in Sioux Falls. They're at home. You know how much Jones loves being on the road. So, Malk, who you taking in this?
I'm taking Tulsa all the way. Like you said, I think what you said about Coach Jones not liking to lose is that's just what encapsulates the entire game, really. Brilliant strategist. I think he's getting his his middle linebacker back too after the suspension, after the targeting call, what was the week before last. Um, so he's certainly going to make a big difference. He's a force to be reckoned with on that defensive side. But I think Tulsa's going to go ahead and redeem themselves after that L this past weekend, and we're going to see the turnaround. So yeah, Tulsa for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Tulsa. My experience with Jones and the tremendous amount of respect I have for him, as well as Coach Roberson, though. Like, I can't say that I don't
Yeah.
respect him just as much, but Jones is a different beast. And to lose to Jax like they did at home, he's probably pulling all-nighters watching film on Green Bay like all week. Like that's what he's doing. Like he's not sleeping, and
Uh,
he's gonna go on the road, and they're gonna go in there, and he's gonna be pissed off. But I'm also gonna go with Tulsa because I don't know why Green Bay's social media can't give us any love. Like I'm so confused. Like this is a rivalry at this point. I don't understand. They follow the show on all the channels, but yet I've
yeah,
mentioned them so many times. I get no love from Green Bay's social media team. So I'm gonna
I
pick
feel
Tulsa
it,
just
man.
because of that.
Yeah, for
But
sure. I'm with you 100%.
but no, seriously, I do think that back-to-back losses for Jones is just not something that he's going to deal with very well. So we
Yeah.
both like the Oilers, oddly enough, back-to-back weeks. Something in the air here, I guess. More Saturday action. The Massachusetts Pirates, off their bye week, go into Iowa to take on Barnstormers, who have now tasted victory, but it's not Star Wars night anymore for the Barnstormers. So a well-rested Pirates team, but jacked up and ready to go Barnstormers team could be interesting. I'm still going to go with Mass, but man, their schedule's got to get tougher. This team,
Yeah.
I just don't know how much I believe they are as good as they are right now.
Hmm.
But you play who's on your schedule, and they're going to play Iowa, and I think they'll get the win.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you, Rich. I think Matt's going to take it home too. I think the Iowa or the Star Wars magic is over for Iowa.
All right, we both like Mass. That brings us to San Antonio. The Gunslingers taking on Duke City, the only remaining winless team in the league right now. They're fresh off of a bye, but I mean, what does that really mean for Duke City? Malcolm, I'll let you go first. You have history with both these teams, so it's who do you like more?
Man, it's hard to say who I like more, man. But I desperately want to break out my Duke City apparel and wear it on the show. I just haven't had a reason to, man. I don't think I'm gonna have a reason to after this week, man. I mean, San Antonio, they've been putting it together. They've been putting it together. As we saw last week, Castronovo, he said they found a recipe for success, and they're gonna put on a show against Duke City, man.
Yeah, I think if they didn't have back-to-back wins against tough opponents, I would say this one could really go either way. But with that, it says to me that San Antonio has really figured it out. Sam was just way too confident on the show, and I think that speaks volumes for that team. Even in a loss to Frisco, it could have gone either way. So I'm going to pick San Antonio as well. I think they're going to get back in the win column, and that's kind of set the tone for the rest of their season. And then we'll see
Yeah.
what happens with Duke City. So that brings us to the next Saturday game. It's another Super Saturday, no Sunday action, but the next one is another juggernaut of a matchup. The Bay Area Panthers, previously unbeaten and number one, still the reigning defending champs, but they will go into Northern Arizona to take on the Wranglers, who just suffered their first loss in 5 games, the first loss since week 1 of the season. So this is a true test for both teams as well. Northern Arizona, both teams reeling from a loss. So who bounces back better? I really don't know who, because we haven't seen Bay Area lose yet. We saw Naz rattle off 4 after they lost, the first game of the season. But what does Bay Area do? I think they'll probably get it put together. I say, no disrespect to Naz, but I do think Bay Area is probably gonna bring this one home, put it together.
Okay, okay. I like that too. I mean, I would say the same thing, but as always, we gotta have something to offset the tie, the potential tie. So I mean, Nas, they're playing at a high level, like you said. I know um from playing on winning teams myself, going home after an L that you feel like genuinely could have went your way, it hurts, man. It hurts a lot for the team itself, the coaching staff, for the fans. So I mean, I know they're chewing on that right now, and they know that they have to get back in that win column in order to get back to where they want to be. So I think Naz will take this one home.
All right, so we're different there. Going to be a good game, regardless.
Yeah,
Like this one will probably come
yeah.
down to a single possession drive series or play. So that's exciting, and that brings us to our Week 9 finale. These two opponents very familiar with each other. It's probably going to be an easy pick for me, but it's just because it's the Arizona Rattlers taking on the Tucson Sugar Skulls. I mean, look, I know that Snead is back. It looked to be the difference maker. However,
Mhm.
both teams are coming off a bye, but if Mitchell is back in the lineup, which I believe, according to my source, he is, then I really think that Tucson could get this one, because Snead being back is great, but this was, in my opinion, a team that was like, well, if we just had our starting quarterback, it'd be completely different. Like there were issues, special teams, defense, offense. And so now, yes, you have your leader, your starting quarterback back in the lineup after all these weeks away. But I mean, Billy and Kevin Guy, this is going to be a very interesting rivalry, pending how long it lasts. And I know there's no love lost there when it comes to them on the field. I'm going to go with Tucson, just because I, I really want Tucson to win this one.
Rich, we all know why you're really going with Seesaw. We won't have to speak on it, but I think myself as well as the fans know exactly why you want the Rattlers to lose. But I'm gonna agree with you on that for sure, man. I look at Tucson as much like you said, they kind of were just waiting on, their star to come back. I'm not sure how much of an anime fan you are, like our viewers are, but I look at it like, Goku, Dragon Ball Z. Like they're always in like just like extreme peril and they end up just waiting on Goku to come back and save the day. I feel like Malik Mitchell is there, Goku. He'll bring that life and vigor back to a team that needs it desperately.
So there's our week 9 picks. We both like Tucson. So now it's time to pick Malcolm's punishment. Man, I'm so happy to break your three-peat. So happy about that. There was a Peyton Manning commercial where he was doing stuff in his everyday life and he was cheering on like the meat slicer guy at the deli, or he was high-fiving the
Yeah.
cashier at the grocery store. And I was like, what if I had Malcolm go to his gym and he just
Uh,
had to spend the day just like cheering everybody on, just like they do like 3 reps and he's just like, yeah, good reps, man. Wait, and you got somebody following you, with your phone and they're recording this. What is
no, for
that
sure.
like in the gym world?
So luckily, I'm a regular at my gym. I kind of go fairly often enough for the people to know me. I don't think I'll have any trouble like in it getting any type of, you know, fights or nothing like that. If I do, it'll be embarrassing for sure. But I mean, that's what we're doing. I mean, I've been embarrassed by you several times by now. So I mean, I don't think it'll be a problem, brother.
I just
Go
want you
ahead.
to go in there and just be the hype man of the day, just for like, an hour in your gym. And it's
Uh,
like, it's everything, right? It's somebody
yeah.
that comes in and they wipe down a machine. You're like, yeah, way to wipe that thing down, man. That's what I'm talking about. Respect. Like, I just need you to be over the top and just
Okay.
encouraging and just the hype man, the cheerleader of your gym just for like an hour. And it can't be like a
For
dead
sure.
time. Like, come on, like there needs to be like 4 people in there doing stuff. But I just need somebody to record you being this hype
Okay.
man and then post it on social, because I think it would be absolute gold to see you go in there and just like they're drinking out of the fountain, be like, yeah, you need to hydrate, man. Hydrate. That's what I'm talking about.
I can make it happen, man. I can make it happen for sure. That would be hilarious, man. I can picture it now, but yeah, man. Hey, bet's a bet. So yeah, I got you, brother. I'll make it happen, man. It's gonna be fun for sure. Yeah, no, I'll have that for you, brother. I'll make like a 30-second compilation video of me just hyping everybody up. It'll be fun. I got
Double knot on the
you.
shoelaces. That is a bold move. I like that you secure your shoes to your feet, man. That's awesome. Let's go. Let's get a set in.
Well, this is gonna be fun. This is
This
gonna
is
be
gonna be
fun. This is what
good.
I'm
I'm
looking forward
excited
to.
for this one. All right, folks. Well, we have laughed as much as we can here on episode 420. I mean, 488. Might as well be 420. I'm done with the wig and the dreadlocks. Thank God. It is so hot under this thing. But
Oh
uh,
man.
we will be back next week to recap an exciting week number 9 in the IFL. Have more good, bad, and funny. Don't forget, you can see us on YouTube, listen on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Spreaker and Apple Podcasts, and every Wednesday at 7 Eastern on Express Radio on live365.com. So for the man, the hype man at the gym, Father Malcolm McCoy, I'm the T-Man, Richard T-Man. Bob Marley is a legend, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you next time. This has been the Fan Show. Thank you and good night.